We started this dive at the deepest depths that we're going to go, and we're going to be moving up along this ridge, looking at the biology and geology here. Lots of geology right now. Sediment on the bottom and these boulders poking out. Looks like there might be a sponge coming off the side of that boulder there.
Yep.
There's a big overhang
Big
on that.
one, yeah. Wow.
Ooh. I gotta stop doing those. Sorry, guys.
Want the red one on the right?
The red one on the white and the stalk on top if possible.
Yep, should be able to get both.
The red one's probably a crinoid.
Crinoids, also referred to as feather stars.
This is a popular boulder.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead, zoom in there, video.
Coming in.
So what we're looking at right now is called the Brisingid sea star. They're actually more closely related to the asteroid sea stars, like the common sea stars you might be aware of in the intertidal, but they're a deep sea variant, and those long projecting spines are used to capture food particles that it uses tube feet to transport towards the mouth.
Awesome. I'm assuming that was Steve. Thank you.
Okay, full wide. I'll try and get the whip guy on top.
Again, in that Argus view, you can see a full picture of this boulder that we're taking a look at. Little marine neighborhood.
Bridge nav. One more step.
I'll be able to get that close to this guy.
Might have a mushroom coral in the background, the pink. And looks like another stalked crinoid in the front, maybe, with the really small body and long stalk.
Is this still a strange proportion than what we're used to seeing on these?
Yeah, it's less so than the previous one, though.
Oh, look at that beautiful mushroom coral. And then it looks like another sponge behind it.
That would make a nice marine bouquet.
Yes, but you do not want to touch it.
Are they sharp?
A lot of these, I'm not sure about this particular mushroom coral, but a lot of these have stinging abilities.
Oh.
It wouldn't be sharp, though. It would be very gelatinous.
Gelatinous and stingy?
Yeah. More like a jellyfish sting.
I see.
Okay, wide, please.
Coming wide.
That was a pretty cool shot.
Another big boulder.
Really love how clear the Argus view is.
Yeah, we're getting some really nice Argus shots.
It's beautiful.
Jamie's back here snapping away.
Hey Jamie, I got a question for you once you're done snapping and
I am
recording.
not done snapping. I've never done snapping.
She can snap and talk.
but I can snap and talk.
Awesome, amazing. Have you ever been stung by things while processing?
Yes. Bamboo coral produces a large amount of mucus, and we wear gloves when we process, but sometimes when we stick our hands in the biobin to pull the samples out, a little bit of water gets under your gloves, and that can be kind of irritating. So now we have some long tongs that we use to pull things out of the bins so that that type of thing doesn't happen.
I've heard about those long tongs.
Yeah. Very useful for samples that are deep in a large box. I think also I might have been gotten by an urchin before because the spines are pretty sharp. But nothing exciting.
So with the mucus from the bamboo coral, does that mean that the mucus itself has like an irritant that was getting you?
Yeah, Steve could probably explain this better since he specializes in coral, but my understanding is the mucus is sort of a defense mechanism so that if something's coming to try to predate it, it's very gooey and irritating to the animal, and they're less likely to eat the coral.
Yeah.
It's like my least favorite organism, the hagfish.
I love hagfish.
Are we already getting into combos about our least favorite organisms this early?
They're amazing. They're incredible. They're just disgusting.
I'd really like to be on a cruise that samples the hagfish sometime.
Okay. We can get you there.
It is my personal
come with
opinion
me.
that most of the amazing things in the world are the grossest.
I hear that if you sample a hagfish and then you take it out of the bio box and put it in a bucket of water, it'll just fill it up with mucousy slime.
Oh my god.
They're very prolific mucus makers.
That's really cool.
Geologists can also get stung by their samples.
Sometimes you drop a rock on your foot. It's about the bad.
Or you get glassy rocks.
Yeah.
You get some of the basalt, and
you're hammering away at a rock. It'll come back to your eyes if you're not wearing glasses.
Safety first.
Stuck in your fingers.
Speaking of geology, we've got some people wondering again about these boulders here. So can we talk again a bit about that mass wasting that you were talking about before?
Yeah, so this dive plan, we're going to start off on the edge of this seamount. And it seems like there's some kind of slope failure event where there's just kind of at some point this side of the seamount collapsed. And it produced this large amount of boulders scattered all the way up. And so we're going to start going up there along the side, and that might give us an opportunity to sample some loose rocks that are derived from the flank of this seamount. And then later in the cruise, we're going to go to a little volcano that came afterwards, or a little potential volcanic cone that erupted way after this seamount did. And so we can compare the ages between the flanks of the seamount and this little secondary post-erosional cone on top.
I don't know why the idea of a little volcano is just so adorable.
It should be.
Is that the one you guys were calling the parasitic cone?
Yeah.
Why do you call it parasitic?
Well, I don't even know if that's exactly the proper term, but a lot of times when you have a large volcano, say like Hawaii or something, you have the main volcanic center, and it's coming out the center of that main crater. But you can have cones, like small volcanic clusters around the edges of it, and they form like a little small stratovolcanoes or some other type of volcanic cone. And they're called parasitic cones because they're kind of feeding off the main magma supply, but they're in a different area. In this case, it's more of a post-erosional cone. So sometime after the seamount stopped erupting, subsided under the ocean, had the waves cut the top of it flat, and had coral reefs built on it, then that volcanic system reactivated and formed this little cone.
Little cone.
Little cone.
Chris, do you want to reseed the DVL?
Yes, I can.
All the autos are off.
Roger that. Resetting.
Awesome, thank you.
Alrighty. Got 50 meters to the first target.
Almost there.
Slowly but surely.
Less than a Nautilus length.
Yay. And we've got a question that is of personal interest to me. Someone asking about, not on this dive, but a couple years ago, that purple orb that was seen. If you go to our photos and videos highlights, you can see a video of the purple orb that I'm referring to. But scientists have recently determined that it's likely a new species of snail.
Wow.
Cool.
I was wondering where the personal part came in.
We're getting there.
You should explain snails are your background.
Yeah. I have a background in general environmental science with a focus on marine ecosystems, but I worked in as a curatorial assistant in malacology for a good part of a year at the Academy of Natural Sciences, and I'm known in many circles as that snail person that always talks about snails.
Oh, so you're that snail person.
I'm that snail person you heard so much about, I'm sure.
Have to get you a bumper sticker.
She's got the socks.
I do. I forgot to put them on this morning. I'm wearing coffee socks, but I do have socks that say snailed it and another pair that says smooth snailing with a snail with a little captain's hat.
I love it.
I'm not obsessed or anything.
You're enthusiastic.
Exactly.
Rightfully so.
Hey, Trevor.
Nope.
No, not Trevor.
No,
Wrong name. Wrong
Can we
name.
zoom on that small, probably fish in the very bottom?
oh, the one leaving the frame now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll stand by. Get back there.
Got a message coming in saying snails are sexy. I wouldn't go that far, but I do love snails. I do love them. They are very cute.
Okay, video, you can zoom in there.
Coming in.
Bridge nav.
Oh, it's
Coming in a
so
little further.
small.
Request 20
Another
meter
tripod?
step, bearing
I
270.
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That other one
Very
was so
small
tall.
tripod. Is
So
that
the
full
key-
zoom?
Full zoom.
Key to identifying tripod fishes is an ROV close-up on the head region and on the base of the caudal fin.
If we have time before we move, can we zoom slightly further down? There was a white globular structure that's a xenophylophore.
Okay, you come wide for a second.
Coming wide.
Ooh.
Oh,
That's
there it is.
full wide.
All right, come back in on this
Coming in.
white guy here.
So that's a single-celled organism.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Coming in a little tighter here.
Yep, go ahead.
So would
It's
these
full zoom.
be similar to like an amoeba type thing?
Amoebas are pretty mobile. I don't think these are great at moving. I think they're,
Doesn't look like it.
yeah. We're good here whenever you want to move on.
Roger.
Kind of wide.
Yeah, I think they've got more of a rigid structure to them than an amoeba, which is fairly free moving.
And what did you call those again?
Xenophylophore.
Xenophylophore. That's a cool name.
Philo as in like liking something, like that kind? Like can you describe
What that name
by
means.
its name, you know?
Give me a minute to take a few notes and then I'll get back to you.
Yeah, no problem.
Or Steve can write it in and I'll read it. Says the geologist.
When I accidentally said Trevor before, I was meaning to say Kevin. Kevin, you back there?
Yeah.
I had a question coming in about the way that these boulders broke off and got down here. What sort of process would have caused that? Was that like an earthquake or something like that that would have caused that?
It's possible. We're not really in a seismically active area, but that's because it could be possible. It could just be some kind of faulting and degradation of the seamount as it subsides.
Yeah.
Parts of it just kind of slump off. But I don't know exactly in this area what would cause this or what did. Those would be my guesses.
We're getting quite a few people who are very interested in that Xenophylophore.
Okay,
So
well,
whenever you're ready.
I'm ready to provide more information.
Please do.
So Xenophylophore means bearer of foreign bodies, originating from a Greek word, and the foreign bodies refers to sediments called xenophi. I'm not very good at pronouncing Greek. Something close to that, which are cemented together to form their tests, which is just a word for one of their structures. Yeah. And there's been a lot of debate about what group xenophylophores should be in. I'm gonna write down briefly that we've got this sponge here.
Yeah, so what we're talking about now, the Xenophylophore, that is not what we're currently looking at on the screen. It was an organism that we came across a few minutes ago. Now we're looking at a really beautiful sponge.
15 meters to first target.
Okay, full wide.
Full wide. Nice flying.
Ooh, and in the Argus cam, there's a nice jelly.
Oh, nice.
Beautiful.
I love it. Let me see if I can get more. Oh yeah.
Love it. The
That
lights
might-
glistening off
That
of the
might actually be
cilia.
a ctenophore
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah, looks like it.
rather than a jelly.
The people at home, make sure you switch over to the Argus view. Or maybe just missed it.
Excuse me.
But you
I
can
think
actually,
you can rewind, right?
yeah, you can go back a couple hours at a time and view some of the live feed if you missed it. So if you want to go back on that Argus view and go back about, a minute now, you can see what we were referring to.
Okay, so I was saying for the xenophylophores, they weren't sure what group they were in over the past several hundred years, and currently they're placed in a group of foraminifera, which are usually much, much smaller.
And so that whole structure that we saw was one single cell.
Yep.
That's
Wow.
incredible.
Yeah, definitely.
We are pretty much at waypoint 1 here.
Let's keep going.
All right, next step will be towards waypoint 2. Bridge nav. Request 30 meter step bearing 287.
And then
Allison, is anybody available to run out on the deck and have a listen?
Yeah, I can. You want me to go listen?
Yeah, just see if it's
Yep, I'll go out there.
I guess I should do some winching then.
Yeah, give
Otherwise she
give
won't
a
hear
chance-
anything.
Give her a chance to get out there and haul it up.
Okay.
doing great, Kylie.
I was like, my delta depth's pretty good. Maybe I should wait.
Just whatever direction is fine. I think it was doing it on the.
Both, maybe.
They do both, so she can hear it. So just,
Yeah. I'll
5 meters each way.
I'll be pulling up now.
Roger.
Bring it maybe a little higher than normal.
And an update on that ability to rewind. This year you can actually rewind up to 12 hours when you're
And
watching.
Hang out now.
Before.
Yep.
This wire looks good.
Yeah, it does. Alright. That should be happy.
Chris, is our new bearing? I missed it. Was it 280?
287.
287. Okay. Not a peep? Yeah, it looks great in the camera.
That's good.
All right.
I'm going to reset DVL if you're all right with that.
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
All right, reset.
Roger. Thank you.
We have approximately 410 meters to our second target.
Can you zoom out on HYPACK a little bit?
Yes. Let me scroll over.
Okay.
You want more?
No, that's good. I think let's keep the pace of the movements to waypoint 2.
Okay.
I think we just want to get to the base. Hopefully get a sample there, and then we'll start making our way up.
Roger that.
So if anyone's interested in more information about xenophilophores,
Clearly Jamie is.
let's see.
May I use your bubble?
Yeah, go ahead.
They are somewhat mobile, not like an amoeba, but they can sort of slowly move. Most of them sit on top of the seabed, but one species is known to bury itself into the sediment. And they feed in the same way that amoebas do, which is by enveloping their
Macrophages.
food with
Their
part
body.
of their body, yeah.
And Jamie, we actually just got a little message in that apparently the
Thank you.
data logger career profile video just went up on YouTube, and it was inspiring, and I've been told to tell you that data loggers are awesome and you did a great job.
Cool.
That's
I
awesome.
don't think I'm in the data logger video, but I am? What? Okay, I didn't even know that. Well, I'm glad it was inspiring, and I do love data logging, which is why I keep coming out here year after year. So yeah, be inspired.
You heard it from Jamie.
Ooh, could we zoom in right near where the lasers are on that pinkish structure?
Oh yeah, on the underside of that.
It might be a sea star, but I'm not sure.
Just under. Where are we? Where are you going for?
That pink right near the laser dots on the side of the rock.
Yep. Okay, go ahead, video.
Coming in.
Not going to be able to get super tight here.
Oh, it is a sea star.
Is that one of those slime stars? Is that what the group's called?
I am not familiar with slime stars.
Steve says yes.
Oh, yep. I have never heard of a slime star.
We saw
I've
quite
been
a few
missing
of them
out.
last time, and I just think they're really cute because they're like super chubby sea stars.
Yeah, I have to admit this is my favorite body type for sea stars when they're just, they have little tiny arms and just a really big body. It's very appealing.
It's so cute.
Spirit animal alert.
So cute. And to our viewers, another reminder about your ability to rewatch some of these videos. This year, we're actually going to be posting the dives, full recordings of the dives, to our YouTube channel a few days after the dive completes. I know in years past, many of you have wanted this to happen, and there it goes. We're doing it.
You can also find them in the sidebar on the expedition page.
Awesome, yeah.
Once they're posted.
You asked, we listened.
NautilusLive.org.
Yeah.
Science for the people.
Yeah.
That's an awesome Argus shot. I love these.
Yeah, the clarity is just so nice.
Video, do you want to push in just past that meso camera? It's pretty far. I just want to see what it's like.
Yep, coming in.
Yeah, just try and hold it there for a bit, see what it's like to fly around.
Sure. Just giving you a little bit more now that you tilted up.
Yeah.
Hey, Jamie.
Hey.
Hey. We've got some questions coming in about how sponges are actually sticking to these rocks, and whether it's like a suction cup or whether it's cemented or if they can move at all.
Okay. I don't know a lot about sponges. I do know they can't really move, so they stick to where they start growing and then grow out from there. In terms of how they're attached, Steve would probably know. Steve, down in the lounge, could you please call in?
I know there's some that the glass sponges have like string-like projections that actually look like hair at the bottom that are cementing them to the structure, but I forget what they're called, those string projections.
Bridge nav. Another step, please.
Could we zoom on the side of this rock face that you're moving toward with looks like several sponges and
Yep.
maybe some coral.
Yeah, go ahead, video.
Coming in.
Okay, definitely sponges here.
Mm-hmm. And like the coral, these sponges are filter feeders as well, which is why they have these openings that allow the water to come through and they can collect that marine snow full of nutritious stuff.
Oh, there's some yellow branching. Might be a coral?
Is up a little bit.
Just come wide for a minute.
See them in the right corner there.
Yeah, right middle of the screen currently.
Yeah, okay,
Now
zoom in.
just off.
Is this what you were looking at?
No.
Actually-
So if you zoom all the way out again,
Coming wide.
Like these little,
it's somewhere
little yellow ones.
to the far right, or maybe off screen now. I can't really tell.
Right through there.
But if you need to move on, that's
Yeah,
okay
we're
too.
gonna have to, I think.
Yeah.
Coming full wide.
Roger.
Looks like some more boulders. Getting quite a few positive reactions to the news of those streams being uploaded after the dive. So we're glad that you're excited about that. And thank you all for joining us live and also checking out the videos afterwards. Still seeing people joining us today, so thank you all for joining us on nautiluslive.org. We are exploring deep waters off of Kingman Reef in the Pacific Remote Islands Marine National Monument. Currently making our way along a ridge to get a look at the biology and geology here. Seeing a lot of boulders that are thought to have fallen down from what's called a mass wasting event, when these big pieces of geology kind of slough off of bigger features.
Big sponge, right ahead.
That is a big sponge.
Glass.
Very probably glass sponge, yes.
Go ahead and zoom in there.
Oh, beautiful.
Could we get a little bit more imagery of the base?
Yep.
Coming a bit wider. And I'll come tight on the base here.
Awesome, that's great, thank you.
Okay, go wide.
Coming wide.
And a reminder that those watching that to the right of the question bar below the videos, you can actually sign up for our newsletter, which you can get general expedition updates throughout the season, and also links to our resources, educational resources, and other opportunities all about Nautilus. So you can sign up through that little box next to the comment box. Another little rock party.
Bridge nav. One more step, please.
We're seeing quite a few more people joining us on nautiluslive.org. So hello to everybody watching from home. Thank you so much for joining us as we explore this ridge near Kingman Reef, which is in the Pacific Remote Islands Marine National Monument, an area that's managed by U.S. Fisheries and Wildlife. And so we're here taking a look at the deep waters off of this region, looking for biological diversity and the geology of the area. Similar dives were conducted in the last couple of years by Okeanos on the other side of Kingman Reef. So we're hoping that these dives can give us a more holistic picture of the entire area. See what kind of biodiversity we have in terms of coral, other invertebrates, fish, all sorts of things down here in the deep sea. So thank you so much for joining us. And a reminder that you can send those questions in to that bar down at the bottom. We have only recently gotten to the bottom in the last couple hours, so we will be down here for quite a while. So be sure to tune in all day long. And again, thank you for joining us.
Bridge nav. One more step, please.
Can we get a zoom on the coral, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that one of Steve's favorites, one of those primnoid corals that we're looking at?
I'm pretty sure it is a primnoid or primnoid.
Is it
Noid,
primnoid or primnoid? We'll let Steve tell us. It's his favorite group.
Part of the problem with scientific names is often there are multiple ways to pronounce them, and depending on who you ask, you'll hear something different. I don't know if that definitely applies to this particular word or not, but it does apply to many scientific words.
Yeah, we got a confirmation from Steve. That is primnoidoid. Primnoid. Primnoid.
Primnoid.
Now it just doesn't sound right either way. Thank you for everybody that's joining us from past expeditions. Thanks for watching along and joining us again this year. We're really excited to be out here in the Pacific Ocean again. Got questions coming in about how deep we can go with our vehicles. We're not going to be going to the extent of our tether on this dive or the extent of our flotation on either of the vehicles, but Hercules, and correct me if I'm wrong here, can go to 4,000 meters depth, and Argus can go to 6,000, but we are at about 2,000 right now. Let me double check that. 2,300 meters right now. So kind of in the middle of our range. And the really awesome thing about our ROVs is that we can stay down for quite a while. If we were sending people down in submersibles, we can only stay down so long because people have to do people things like eating and going to the bathroom and all that jazz. But we can keep these robots down here to complete the work that we want to do. And we're looking at about a 24 to 30 hour dive today off of Kingman Reef.
Breathing is also useful for people dives.
Oh, yeah, yeah. The breathing part. Very important.
And on the vehicles, we also have a new addition this year. We have Little Hercules on board, which is a much smaller version than Herc here. But Little Hercules is an imaging ROV that's capable of going to 6,000 meters.
Awesome. And so Little Hercules has the HD cameras on it, but doesn't have the sampling abilities that, Big Herc has.
Right. No manipulators. We'll eventually we're testing out a 4K camera that we'll put on for cruises, and we'll mostly be testing out Little Hercules this year, and then do deployment with it in the Gulf of Mexico in early 2020.
Very exciting.
Lots of boulders all of a sudden.
For those at home wondering about the crew and changeovers and all of that, some people stay on for multiple expeditions. Some people, like myself, I'll be on for this cruise, and then I'll get off and fly back home to Philadelphia. It depends on their role on the ship, how long they're going to stay on. Some people, will meet back in port at other spots for kind of piecemeal dives throughout the season. Some other people will stay on for longer periods of time. But it really depends on who you are and what your role is on the ship.
Anywhere from 2 weeks to 5 months.
Whew. And how long are you on this expedition season, Allison?
I think I'm doing about 60 so days total.
60 days.
It's a pretty good stretch.
Not all at once though. I'm breaking it up.
And that camera on Little Hercules, is that one's going to be 4K as well?
On Little yeah. So Hercules right now has a.
Could we zoom on that fish?
Sure thing. Go ahead, video.
Coming in.
The camera that's zooming in right now is an HD camera,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll. No, that was short.
Coming back wide.
Looks like a halosaur, though.
And then we're gonna mount the 4K camera to test it on Herc this year, but also it's intended for Little Herc.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm really happy to see we've got people writing in that they've been looking at the career profiles on
Awesome.
nautiluslive.org. So
That's a great idea.
yay, so excited to have you looking at them. I know I was actually having a conversation with Kylie the other night about how we both have looked at those profiles like before coming on the ship. So a reminder, if you're not aware of what I'm talking about, if you go on nautiluslive.org, obviously you're going to be able to see our live stream, but we've got a lot of other resources on there as well, including highlights from other dives and career profiles. Almost everybody who's sailed on the ship, if not everybody, has a profile on the website that talks about how we got interested in what we do, what kind of path we've taken education-wise, career-wise. And if you take a look at those, it'll become clear that there is not a single path to this sort of career. There's lots of different entry points, lots of different interests that you can have that can get you here. So I really recommend taking a look at those profiles and reading up and, seeing what you relate to.
Yeah, I found that really helpful before I was an intern, like getting some guidance within this industry for things I could study that would help me get to a role like this. So it's definitely an asset. And they have so many from all the different people that have been out here. It's a great, you could spend a couple hours looking through them all,
Yeah. And it seemed to work out for you.
Yeah, hey.
It's a reminder that Kylie was an intern last expedition season, ROV intern, and is back as an ROV pilot. And same with Steven here, video engineer, was an intern as well. So success stories abound.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like the internship program here. So if anybody is listening now that is interested in an internship with Nautilus Live, write in some questions if you're wondering what it's like to be on the ROV team, or for Steven be on the video, be the video intern.
Yeah, and we've also got an intern on our watch right now.
That we do.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, guys.
Chris is our navigation and mapping intern, joining us from the Coast Guard Academy, correct?
Yes. So this was internship provided for me through our marine science program. So I am very happy to be here.
We're happy to have you.
And I actually started out as an intern 7 years ago.
Really, Jamie?
Ooh.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
And I was trained by Suna, our other science manager on board.
That's so cute.
I know. It's such a happy story.
Nautilus Live, making dreams come true.
Seriously.
Yeah, no, honestly.
Before this, I was a little bit of a super fan. I've been watching Nautilus Live for about 7 years now, but it wasn't until about 2 years ago that I even knew I could do this. So, opportunities are out there. So stay curious and look at the resources on things like nautiluslive.org, and, you can be here too.
That was a massive boulder.
Yeah, Kevin's back here really hoping for a talus field.
I knew the question would come in eventually. Yes, some of us do get seasick, including myself. My first day and a half was pretty rough, but you just got to push through it. It's the price you pay to, come out here and do this sort of stuff. I'm not sure how everyone else in the van did.
You were a trooper. You were like the happiest seasick person I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I was trying.
Sometimes I get seasick on the first day.
Yeah. But it passes.
Yep.
Get used to it. It's a matter of what you're seeing and what your body is feeling kind of being out of sync because you're on a ship that's moving and rocking and all of that. But I'm good now. Oh, cool. We've got a teacher writing in that says that they share the profiles with their students, and a lot of the kids in their classes that play video games are really interested in what the ROV pilots do, which makes a lot of sense.
Is it true that little Hercules is controlled with an Xbox controller?
It is true.
Also, our new 4K camera that's going to be installed is controlled with an Xbox controller.
You hear that, gamers? Ocean Science, the ultimate video game. So we've got about a half hour left in this watch before we hand it over to the next crew. But reminder that you can write in your questions and somebody will be in this seat waiting to answer you as we dive on Kingman Reef in the Pacific Remote Islands Marine National Monument.
Alex, are you, what channel is yours? What is it? Like if I want to talk directly to her? I don't have one of those. Okay. Just wondering. I'll tell you later.
Okay.
It's gotten very rubbly.
Kevin, is this the kind of stuff you're looking for?
Yeah, just, a fraction of the size, maybe.
What, you mean we can't throw one of these on the back of Herc and bring it back up?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, you can get a sense of the scale of these boulders if you look at the Argus view.
Yeah.
Quite
trying to get some
massive.
smaller ones though, so I bet there'll be.
Hopefully there'll be something.
Yeah. There's gotta be.
There've been a few little ones scattered around the base of some of the larger boulders. Just have to be able to get in there.
And another resource for people interested in what it's like to work aboard Nautilus, while we're out on this expedition, many people aboard are going to be doing Instagram story takeovers. So if you find Nautilus Live on Instagram, at Nautilus Live,
could
you
we
can see some
zoom
of
on that stick-like stalk?
Stick
Yep.
stock.
Just a second here.
Grab the stick stock with some long tongs.
Okay, video, go ahead.
I'm so sorry. What is that?
Wow, that is very stick-like. I wanted to zoom on it because we passed over some stick-like bamboo curls, according to Steve, and so I didn't want to pass it again, but this does not look very
Looks like some kind of lost its head.
A little tighter here.
Yep.
Weird. Surface of that rock is pretty clean too. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, we're good here.
Okay,
Thank you.
coming
All
wide.
Roger.
So these folks writing in asking about food. If you could hold off, please. I haven't had breakfast yet.
There's another call right there.
I laughed very loudly because I can relate personally.
Could we zoom on that coral on the top?
Yep. I'll just get here.
Ooh, it looks like black coral or something.
Okay, go ahead, video. Just gonna sit on the edge here.
Bridge nav.
A little yellow john on the side there too.
Add another step, please.
It's full zoom.
Roger.
It might be a black coral, like you said. It does have the branching of some of the black corals.
And those
black
like weird
coral
tentacles.
Yeah, black coral doesn't necessarily mean the coral is black. It's the skeleton underneath that's black. We're good on the zoom whenever you need to move on.
Coming wide.
Okay, Roger.
So yeah, the polyps and the sort of tissue covering makes it sometimes really hard or impossible to see the black skeleton.
And that black skeleton is more proteinaceous or made of protein rather than a calcium-based skeleton of some of the other corals. We've got some inquiry about if that sticky stick thing we saw might have possibly been a tube worm. Is that a possibility?
It might have been.
I was thinking that, but
yeah.
I wasn't sure if it
it wouldn't have been.
they would stick out like that.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been the sort of hydrothermal vent, chemosynthetic type of tube worm, but there are other types of tube worms that are worms that make tubes. So yeah, it could have been